I built this sales dashboard for a real brand using their brand identity kit. So it includes their logos, their colors, even the fonts and the font sizes. Everything is accurate for this brand. And the best thing about it, I haven't coded any of this. It's all been done by AI on complete autopilot, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Every AI tutorial makes it look easy, but the moment you're staring at a blank project, you get stuck and you never ship anything real. Today, I'm showing you how to use Google Antigravity to effortlessly vibe code anything. You don't need any extra tools. There's no complex setup, just a system that works every single time. And this is the app that I built. So it's basically just a sales tracker for LaCroix, and this is just mock data. But the point is, you don't need to know any of the branding. You don't need to have any data to sell this, and you don't have to even code this, right? Because I'm going to show you how you get the inspiration behind everything I built here, and I'm even going to show you how you can scrape any brand, any website to get their branding kits, to get the hex colors for all the color palettes, the fonts, the font sizes, everything. Now, most people never get past the tutorial phase, but there's a specific reason why. Because most AI tutorials create a false sense of simplicity, and that collapses the moment viewers attempt their own projects. But I'm going to show you how you can build a concrete project for any industry, any website, any brand with real branding, scrape data, and app guidelines and frameworks that you can reuse on every single project. So the first thing you want to do is find a brand or website that you want to build an app, like a dashboard for. So I'm on LaCroix Water. I absolutely love this website. I love the branding. I think the colors are excellent. I love the product. I actually drink this, and incidentally, passion fruit is my favorite here. And I just really love everything done. Their social media is on fire as well. So I'm going to use this as the example for my sales dashboard. And before we build anything, we need to have inspiration, some ideas about what the dashboard is going to look like. So next place you want to go is dribbble.com. And I absolutely love this website. I've actually used it on a lot of my videos, and I come here when I want to look for inspiration because they've got basically websites, dashboards, everything you could think of in every single category. There's literally thousands, if not millions, of people uploading their profiles on here and their portfolios. So you're going to get a interesting selection of ideas, templates that you can use. So I've done a search for dashboard here, and you can see that it's got a bunch of dashboards. So these are freelancers. They obviously build these platforms, and they're uploading it onto Dribbble to get clients. Now, what's interesting about Dribbble is that it gives you some social proof, right? So you can see here, this first one by Fire Art Studio, it's been liked 2,000 times, and it's been viewed about 800,000 times. So this is clearly a very popular design. And the one that I went for is this one here, which has 2.4 thousand likes and 1 million views. So all I did was I came inside here and I thought, yeah, this looks pretty nice. You know, I like the layout, I like the way they've structured it. So the first thing I did was take a picture of this as a screenshot and then save it on my desktop. Once you have that, you create a folder on your desktop and just call it whatever you want. So I've called mine LaCroix Water Dash. And then I've put the screenshot inside of that folder. And this is building the foundation, right? We're going to build a house on this foundation, but we want to make sure that the foundation is structurally sound. And so we get a tremendous premium looking output. The next step is going to be, we want to scrape the website. And the reason I want to scrape the website is because I want to get all the branding information. I don't want to guess. I want Google Antigravity to have all the correct information that it needs to build me the best possible app or service. So I want firecrawl.dev here, and you can scrape any website that you want. I put in the URL, but this time the format that I want is branding. Click on start scraping, and then what it's going to do is it's going to go to that website and then scrape it. And I believe it uses Python scrapers. So what it can do is it will get obviously all the images, the favicons, and it's got the colors, so we know exactly what colors they're using in the palette. It even tells us what fonts they're using and the font sizes for the header 1s, the header 2s, and the body. So we can make it as customized but as familiar as possible when we pitch these brands, because they're going to look at something that's already familiar to their business. Now I'm showing you this because this is what Firecrawl can do, but we're going to automate this. We're going to use the endpoint with Firecrawl's API and then do it inside of Antigravity. And so for that, I'm inside of the Firecrawl documentation. It made it super easy, actually. It's a lot easier than most APIs when you're using endpoints. So the one that I need is scrape, which is turn any URL into clean data. And literally all you have to do is just scrape this Python code. And what you're going to do is you're going to replace this API key here with your API key. And I'll show you how to get that in a second. And then the next thing you need to customize is the website. So obviously I'm going to put in lacroixwater.com. Everything else is the same. And what we're going to do is we're going to run this code inside of Google Antigravity. I'm going to jump onto that next, but I'm showing you how you can get this information, where you need to go, and how you're going to use it. And for the API key, just sign up to Firecrawl. You can use your Gmail and they give you some credits for free. And then head over to API keys, create a new API key, give it a name, and then you're going to get a key that looks something like this. We need the API key because we're going to run the scraper inside of Antigravity. Okay, so now that we have the assets, we've got the branding, we've got the logos, logos, the font sizes. We've got a screenshot of what the dashboard should look like, and we know how to scrape the website. Let's jump into Google Antigravity and I'll show you exactly where the magic happens. So this is Google's Antigravity, and if you're not familiar with this platform, it's basically an agentic builder, which means that you can run as many agents as you want, and these agents can be trained. They can pick up skills, you can give them skills, and it can basically build anything you want, but it can also connect to MCPs and do additional things on existing external platforms. And it's really going to be a game changer. I'm super excited of what we're going to build in 2026 with this particular agentic builder. So stay tuned for more videos in the future. But everything you see inside of here has been built by Antigravity. The only thing that I gave it was this agent's MD. And basically this is just an agent's instructions that I found online. You can find this on GitHub as well. And this is just a agent instructions, like best practices, guidelines, specifically for Claude and Gemini. So I'm going to be using Claude Sonnet 4.5, and it's just better when it comes to coding type applications or services. And so everything you see on the left hand side here, apart from the LaCroix Dash folder, which is what I created, and I put in the screenshot. So this is a screenshot that I took of the example app. Everything else has been developed and coded by Antigravity. So the first step was to add a prompt. And what I said was on the right hand side here is I want to develop a dashboard that's very similar to LaCroix Water's branding, color palettes, fonts, etc. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to scrape the website using Firecrawl, and I'm going to give you the attached reference image. So I want everything to look like this reference image, but obviously the branding, the colors is going to be based on LaCroix after the scraping is done. So once it's analyzed the image, it's then going to build up an implementation plan. And this is what the implementation plan looks like. So basically I want a premium vibrant sales board for LaCroix, and it's going to include all these important features. So the branding is based off everything I'm going to scrape, and it's going to have a sales dashboard structure based off the attached reference image. And then it's going to build all this in Next.js, TypeScript. It's going to use frame of motion for smooth animations, recharts for digital visualizations, Lucid React, Tailwind, basically all the good stuff that you see on very dynamic websites. Once you're happy with the implementation plan, you can go ahead and click proceed, at which point it's going to go build everything. But before I hit proceed, I want to make sure that it understands what the branding on LaCroix Water's website looks like. So what I did is I got the Python endpoint code. This is my API key. And you guys, you need to steal this. You can sign up for Firecrawl for free. They give you something like 1,000 credits. So go ahead and do that. So you can see I put my API key in there, and then I'm scraping their website. And then the output's going to be a doc. And so once it's done, it's going to be this file here, the scrape LaCroix Python file, which is this file here that it generates. And then it creates an output file, which is the LaCroix _scrape _output text file. And this is everything that's scraped off the website. So it's got colors, it's scraped every image, anything that's been uploaded, favicons, text, everything that this website has is now inside of Antigravity, inside my agent. So you see the power of this, right? Because I'm not leaving anything to chance. I'm scraping every piece of content that I can get to make it as customizable as possible. So when I go to these clients and I sell them these products and services, they're more likely to say yes. So now it's planning the dashboard once it's scraped. It's got the scrape file here, which is the Python file, and it's successfully scraped the website with an output. And so now it's going to build the entire system. So I've approved a new implementation plan. Again, if you're not happy with anything, you can go back, prompt it again, reprompt it, just have a conversation, and you're good to go. You can change anything you want. And you can see that it's now building the website, the actual sales dashboard. And this took about 30 minutes. You can actually do it faster. The reason it took 30 minutes is because I'm using Claude Sonnet 4.5, because I'm more concerned about the quality of the output than I am about the speed. And then once it's built, I can actually see it on a local development server on localhost port 3000. And if I'm happy with it, I can just go ahead and proceed. If not, then I can actually go back into the prompting and change a few bits and pieces, which I did. So I went back and forth and I said, set the logo and use a download.svg file, which is this file here. So I literally just went on the file called scrape. Once it scraped the branding, right clicked their logo and saved it inside of the same folder. So now he has access to the logo, which you can update on the sales dashboard. So you see how powerful this is, right? I'm making this as familiar, as customized as possible. And there is a really cool trick that Antigravity has access to, because it also owns Google Chrome, right? Which means that it can actually open up a browser in agentic mode, and it can actually fix your website for you by quote unquote looking at it. So it'll take screenshots, feed it back into Antigravity, and it's really quite insane. I mean, there's nothing like this that I've seen on the market as good as what Google have built. And then I fixed some typos and changed the welcome message. I had some overlap issues as well, where the fonts were overlapping some images. But the great thing about Antigravity is you can take screenshots of that and then feed it back in and just say, fix this. That's it. That's literally what I did here. I just put a screenshot saying, fix this. And it says, I can see the issue in the calendar. There's a text overlap where product launch is overlapping with pineapple coconut launch. So it already knows what to do. And then I had some kind of error with some packages. I think it was Next.js. So I copied the error message inside of the prompt window here, and it fixed that too. This system doesn't just build dashboards. It builds anything. And once you stack it with n8n automations and agentic workflows, you're not just building projects anymore. You're building leverage. And if you love this tutorial, click on the next video on screen. Watch that. Leave me your feedback by posting some comments below. If you got some value from this video, please smash the like button and go out there, go build something amazing. You'll be surprised how easy it is, but more importantly, how enjoyable this is. You are at the cutting edge of what's possible with agentic AI builders. And honestly, there's nothing better than Google's Antigravity. And before I see you on the next video, say it with me. Something magical is going to happen today. See you when the next video drops.